Comic books are not really a special thing nowadays. I mean, back then they kind of were, but yeah, ever since, people started getting into them mainly because of successful movies and whatnot and all those adaptations and it being like the main source of entertainment in the entertainment business in general, it does seem pretty lacking in like maybe general interest or I'm just making up words. I don't even know what I'm saying. But what I'm trying to say is I want to give you my list of comic adaptations that I'd like to see. Before I get into the main list, I'll say my honorable mentions would be the first comic appearance of the Joker from the 1940s Batman comics. The second one would be the Steve Ditko in the Man-Bat story, and another one would be the Master Race story, where it was the first ever comic to have like multiple panels depicting a story almost like an animated reel on an animated film or just a film reel in general. And yeah, those are the three like short films that could probably be made out of these animated, because I really wouldn't want to see these into live action. So the first comic adaptation is mainly with the Steve Ditko Spider-Man run. I would like to see at least the original total Steve Ditko run, and if they also could, I'd also like to see the rest of that old classic run past Steve Ditko all the way up to the finale of the original Clone Saga. I know there are some issues, especially with the Clone Saga, but I'd most love to see like those classic Spider-Man with the classic art style, animated into like a little mega series that can just be like a one-time thing. But since Marvel's having a big issue with rights with Spider-Man from Sony and Disney, it's kind of a iffy chance that it'll ever be made. But it would be interesting to see. That's all I'm saying for that first segment. The next comic adaptation I'd like to see is the original Watchmen. And I'm talking the classic, the big classic. I'd love to see that like with the accurate adaptation, just fully animated. It would just be really cool to see the original Watchmen get the all-star treatment, especially animated, because most of these being animated and looking very close to the comics with the art style, in my opinion, would be pretty cool to see. The next comic adaptation I'd like to see is the Boys comics. This is a bit controversial because the most jarring thing about them is that there's a lot of crazy and like vulgar moments in this story. And one way you can work around this like by a bunch is, I'd say personally, if I'd run this show, I would do it accurate, but what I do is make permanent censorship. So whenever a character's gonna say a bad word, instead of saying the actual F word, for example, they'll say frick, or they'll mime like the first part, and maybe they could say the last part of the word, but they don't have to say it because we could just censor it. And another thing that I could also think they could do was cut out any filler in the story that keeps it from, dragging across the floor, because honestly I just love to see most of it be adapted, especially like the ending. I think it'd be really cool to see. And some of this, personally, this is coming from the ending reaction of The Boys season 5 or the live action show. But yeah, I'm not gonna, I'm not too angry about it. If I talk about it, I kind of get angry, but at the same time, it's like it's not really a big deal. It's like, who cares, But it would be cool to see. And I do like the art style. It's pretty funny. Got a vulgar sense of nature from just looking at the panels. But yeah, it would be cool to see. But I'm gonna move on to the next segment before I stop making any sense. Okay, the next one is the Spider-Man 2099 classic run from 1992 to 96. I would love to see this adapted into a TV animated show along the same quality of Spider-Verse. I would love to see it and keep all the same voice actors, maybe from the past and from the present and from the future. But it would just be really cool to see this, because I mean, you got a little taste from Spider-Man Unlimited, but I want that, like, since the whole thing is done, mainly the original run. I would love to see a whole animated show on this along the same quality of the Spider-Verse with the same art style, because that's what this list is. I want to see mostly like Spider-Verse animation or Spider-Verse animation with these comic adaptations, but they could probably do 2D or 3D, and I honestly wouldn't complain. But for this one, I'd love to see 3D, and it would be cool. The next comic adaptation I'd like to see is Scott Pilgrim, and I love Scott Pilgrim, man. Love the books. And I would actually like to see like a similar style to the anime Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. Or if they want to do it more to the same line as that Adult Swim short that promoted the movie, I'd love to see an animated adaptation of Scott Pilgrim. And I don't want to see like Family Guy Scott Pilgrim, but honestly, I don't know what they'll do. I don't know what will happen. And you can never say never to any of these, but yeah, this is just another one of my wishful fulfillment moments. So the last comic I'd like to see adapted is the TF2 comic series, and I'm not just talking about the main 1 to 8 issues of the main story that they're trying to tell. I'd like to see, like, before that they do the filler ones, mainly with the other comics they made that never got animated, and they put them all into like maybe like a season 0, or maybe they could just make it a season 1. And whenever they switch to tell the more serious story, I would love to see that main story also be animated. And I think it'd be really cool to see, and I love TF2 and I love these comics. Like, they're motion comics, so there's not really like a physical media, but there is at least a good blueprint that is in the TF2 webcomic, and it would be really cool to see. And yeah, that's my whole list. It was good. I think this is a good ramble. Kind of didn't make any sense. It's gonna be a lot of editing to do, but yeah, this would have been cool to see, but okay,
More honorable mentions that I forgot to mention. First, original run of Ultimate Spider-Man, Predator, Concrete Jungle, Night Thrasher, Spider-Man Deadly Foes from 1991, Star Wars Dark Empire, and the Johto cast Boba Impersonator. All the Alien and Versus Predator classic comics from Dark Horse. And I almost forgot the Marvel UK classic Doctor Who and Transformers 80s comics. Could be forgetting more though, so here are some LOLs for you all watching till the end. Lol, 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 lol.
He copied my whole fucking flow! Word for word, bar for bar!